Okay, one of the first things that I wanted to talk about today was the whole area of remote working. So there's, that's changed for everybody in the world. Remote working has become a thing for everybody, but it comes with a lot of changes and a lot of things that happen with it. So I kind of wanted to just chat to you guys about how you've been feeling about having to change from working in a very busy office environment to working, on your own at home. Some of you had already made that change because you had decided to work remotely a little bit before and could do so because of your job roles and the type of jobs that you did. But for a lot of us, it presented a very big change not to be working in an office with our colleagues. So maybe, Marta, tell me, how did that feel for you? Just starting off, what was the change like moving from an office to a remote working environment?
I guess as you said, here at TCCT is something that we were already doing. So for me, I had the chance to start working remotely back in January. So I didn't see a big change on actually the communications, on how we organize the projects. However, from the lockdown is where I saw a change, because then everything was restricted. So you didn't have a life outside as well. So everything was in the house. So it was the same for everyone. So I guess that in terms of how everyone was feeling, the fact of being home all the time, it was very difficult to separate what is work and what is not work. So I think that was the big change, because you couldn't really disconnect or, do other things more than being in front of your computer. Even if you wanted to keep in touch with your family and friends, everything was back to laptops and phones and Zoom and Teams and such. So I think that was difficult. It wasn't a big change in terms of how we were working, but it was difficult because you didn't have anything else outside your house life, your working life at the same time. But after the lockdown, it's true that it is different. As the company reduced also the team, it was also a good opportunity to keep in touch and to get in touch more often with other team members and to get a better understanding how we could all work together toward the same direction, being more proactive and finding new ways to communicate. So I think that's the main thing. Just keep trying new ways to communicate, as we are doing today, or we have been doing in the past few months. So for me, that was the big change. I think that trust and flexibility were already there from the company in general. So that's something that we were a step ahead before the COVID. And I think in that sense, we didn't get impacted that much, or I didn't feel it like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think we were lucky in that sense that we had already started some remote working, and that as a company, we kind of focus more on the really hours in which we do as much as we can. So I think that was already good, Karen, how was it for you working remotely? And because you would have been based in the office, 4 days a week. So it was quite the main office here in Cork, and you would have had, plenty of colleagues around in person. So how was that for you? That would have been a bigger change for you then.
Because of COVID, I have to worry about Ailish now as well, and childminding and stuff. So because of the whole COVID thing, she couldn't go to school. I couldn't get a childminder. So it suits me now to be at home, that I can be there for her now as well. And because I was only doing 4 hours a day, I can space that out then throughout the day, that if I have to be interrupted because of a little young one running around, that I can get my work done in the evening or, throughout the day. But in fairness, you've been very flexible to suit me as well, that, I don't have to do the set hours that I was doing, that if I can't get it done within the 4 hours, then I can come back in the afternoon. And now that she's back at play school now, that I can do a few hours in the morning, drop her to play school, come back and do more. So at the moment, because of all this COVID stuff, it suits me to be at home, to be there for her.
Yeah, I think especially when you have children, you have to have that kind of flexibility 100%. Is there anybody that absolutely hated remote working or hates working from home? Yeah, really? Why? Nico, tell me why.
Me, more at the beginning, I have to say, for the same reason that Marta said before, was, when there was a strict lockdown, you couldn't even go out. So everything was happening in the same space. At least myself, I didn't have an office space at home. So at the beginning, even all the orders were delayed, so I ordered a desk to set up my office space at home, but until May I didn't have it, so I ordered it back in March, April, I don't remember, and I had to wait. So at the beginning everything was happening in the same space, and that was a little bit challenging. Then I got used to it. Now that you can go out after work, and it's true that there are lots of benefits of remote working, but I'm used to. I already had a big change moving from the Cork office to Valencia, because the Cork office was really busy all the time, so I used to have everyone around, colleagues to gossip with, and I don't have it anymore. So for me, the ideal would be having the possibility to mix, remote and spending some time in the office. That would be the perfect balance, but I'm getting used to.
Enrico, tell me.
But for me, I always want to divide my private life to my work life, So the fact that, going to the office and do my things and then coming home and trying to switch off suited me more. The human element, also was a big factor. The fact that, you can't really, sitting next to people, to colleagues, doing things like I used to, that kind of, that was difficult for me to adapt at the beginning, for sure. On a company level, I think we did the right thing a few years ago to digitalize and put a lot of things and functions, company functions on the cloud, such as, now it's funny because we're doing this meeting on Microsoft Teams, but we have Microsoft 365, so everyone can actually access their email not only on mobile but also on the web app. Our accounting software is online. Most of the things actually are online, so we kind of allowed, even before COVID, all the team members to do their work from home. So that's a great advantage. And it's kind of funny that some companies nowadays still find it hard to have their teams, their staff working remotely, for some reason, and I think this was done by EasyCity a long time ago. I think for me it was more the human element, the fact that, you can't really see people and have some, like a nice chat and a coffee, I think that human element for me is still missing. I miss it a lot, and, seeing the team all around is a matter of pride and it keeps me going. It's a nice thing. So that's I'm still, I miss it a lot.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, overall, we were lucky that we had done some work on this stuff before. So there wasn't any major crisis or difficulty in us having to move everybody to work from home or work online. But I do think it's a combination of both going forward is, I think, what a lot of people will want, because there's flexibility that comes with it, but you do miss some, the human interaction that you get from actually seeing your colleagues face to face in an office, so a mix of both would be really nice.